Good evening everyone and welcome to the Invictus Racing League. This is the F3 League. I am one of your commentators for tonight, Malc. Tonight with me for the very first time, and it's a special guest as always to help me out here for the final race, and it's an absolute honour, is Gareth. How you doing, mate? You alright?
Yeah, good evening, man. Great to be back here in F3. Haven't been here in a while, so it's always good to see what's going on. And yeah, really excited for this one. Looking to be a really fun race tonight.
It'll be absolutely fantastic race here tonight. Like I said, this is the rerun of the Mexican Grand Prix at the famous Mexico City track of the Autodromos Hermanos Rodriguez track. But tell us about the thoughts of the track of Mexico. Have you driven around it? And also, tell us more about the info of the track.
Yeah, of course, it's a 4.3 kilometre circuit, 2.6 miles, the second shortest of the F1 calendar. The distance to turn 1, 800 metres, pretty long stretch down to a very heavy braking zone to that chicane at turn 1, turn 2. Longest straight, it is that first straight, that 0.8 of a mile, 1.3 kilometres. So top speed will be hitting around 215 miles an hour, 345 kilometres an hour. Full throttle, 47% of the lap distance. ERS around here used a lot, so watch these guys having to drop down maybe into lower, into none, to reserve a little bit of that extra battery use to use on that main straight. And gear changes 44 over the lap distance. That makes it just over 3,000 over the race distance tonight. So yeah, these guys will be working overtime on those flappy paddles. And yeah, it's a track that it's very easy to get caught out on, especially in that second sector with the sweeping corners from turn 7 through turn 11. And we always tend to find the yellow flags coming out with spins and drivers possibly getting it a little bit wrong. So yeah, I'm not sure about you, Malc, but there's definitely potential to maybe see that safety car come out once again.
Not just one safety car, mate. It'll probably be about 2 safety cars, but you might see a few virtual safety cars from all the seasons that we've seen so far. So I would guarantee that there will be a few safety cars in here tonight as well. I'm just watching Luke Bailey now doing his lapping now. He's coming to the end of the first sector now, and he's trying to do everything possible in that Red Bull car as much as possible here as well. Have you been watching much of the F3 recently, Gareth?
Yeah, I mean, it's F3, it's always one of the most fun leagues we have here at Invictus. It always offers up something different each race, and in fact we've seen 8 different winners over the 11 races so far this season. So there's only been a couple of multi-time winners, in that being the champion-elect Rimac, Gasto and Wojtek. So yeah, there's always excitement going on F3. There's always potential for thrills, spills and upsets. So we've got Luke Bailey coming around the stadium section now onto the final corner at the Perotada. Wojtek does a 15.8 to start off the session. Can Luke go any faster in the Red Bull? Comes across the line, of course, race winner earlier this season. And Luke comes across the line and does a 15.7, immediately beaten by Rimac on a 15.4.
He's done a brilliant job there. So the Drivers' Championship winner of this season there, Rimac, in pole position here. Tillis has got 4th place, 5th place now with 117.6. Gasto is in 4th with a 116.9. Dutch Louis is in 5th with a 117.5. Just watching Craig now, coming up there, he's going to 4th there. That's a crack of the time there from Craig with a 116.4 as well. With the tyre wear strategies, do you know much about Mexican Grand Prix, as in the tyre strategies around here, Gareth?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 1 or a 2 stop. It depends on how brave these guys are feeling on those tyres. You can find these guys utilising that hard tyre in the race. It's very easy to wear those soft tyres out after just a few laps. So if you are going to make use of the softs, then you might have to think about moving to that 2-stop strategy come the race. We did see a 1-stop utilised very effectively in F1 a week and a half ago, so it can be done, but you've got to be very, very gentle on those tyres. And these guys tonight would have to really tiptoe on that in-lap and that out-lap on qualifying if they're going to start on those Red Bull tyres.
Absolutely. But with the tyre wear itself, it looks like you can do a 1-stop or you can do a 2-stop. The quickest strategy around here is the soft mediums, from what I saw on the telemetry before we started. But also you can do soft mediums by a 10th, but as you said, you've got to be absolutely delicate around the Mexican Grand Prix. Just watching Mike now passing into the old baseball ground there. What was your old famous F1 memory that you remembered back in the Mexican Grand Prix here, Gareth?
Well, of course, you've got the famous move from Mansell around the outside of what is the old Pelotada, and of course it was called Mansell Curve up until very recently, and that's probably one of the most iconic moments. The Mexican Prix, of course, nowadays it's been highlighted by Lewis Hamilton winning multiple world championships seemingly here, and a pretty fun party for those that do get to sit on in the old baseball stadium, which has been beautifully turned into this real cacophony of sound as the drivers enter it and exit it on several laps, and especially when you've got the likes of Sergio Perez entering the baseball stadium, it is something to behold. So yeah, it's a lovely little circuit. Some people like it, some people don't, and obviously my co-commentator on Monday Night, Sab, he's not a fan of it at all, but it's a track that I've actually won at previously in F3 a few seasons ago when I went toe-to-toe with Mike for the championship. So it's one of those ones that if you get it right, it's very satisfying.
It is absolutely. If you get that sweet of a lap, you feel like you're at the top of the pile there. If you don't, you feel like you're right at the bottom there as well. But just still watching Mike now doing his lapping now. And he's coming to the final few corners now at this famous Mexican Grand Prix here. So what can Mike do? He moves up to 5th in the medium tires with a 1:16.9. That's a cracker of time there. So sometimes that we have not mentioned there, Brennan's did a 1:17.7 on the hards. O'Steva did a 1:17.8 on the medium tyre. Nigel Gash did a 1:18 flat there. Mr. P is come up to end of the first sector into the second one now. Passing into turn 5 now, then into which is the which I love this part here, which is turn 6. I don't know why, you feel like one of those fantastic sports arena stuff, but then you go into that the old baseball ground as we mentioned earlier on, and it's just an absolutely class stuff as well. But with F3 as well, are you coming back to F3 next season?
I am. I will be making my return to F3. I'm actually moving onto a wheel, so I'll come back down, dropped a second or so off my pace. So yeah, coming back down just to maybe get back into the swing of it and prove myself a little bit to move maybe up to F2 in the future. But I'm actually really looking forward to it. I had a lot of fun. As we almost see Mr. P getting into the wall, the entry of the Pelotada there. He's going to bail out of a second lap there, so it's a second time lap that he's having to come into the box. But yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back to F3. It's where I made my name somewhat and had some great fun battling with the likes of F1 Richard, with Brennan's, with some of the other drivers in the league, and of course they've gone on to do some really, really decent things. Of course, we saw Stephen take a fantastic first win in Austria earlier this season. It was a very emotional one for him. It had been a long time coming, his 53rd in F3 before taking that win, and he's actually he's going to lose that title of most races without a win with F1 Richard if he takes one next season. Richard, of course, is on his 53rd race tonight, so he'll be overtaking that amount, or as Luke Bailey decides at the last minute to come into the pit lane. But Malc, I mean, obviously you've sat here through the season, you've seen these guys on track. Who are you looking forward to this evening? Who's going to potentially make that upset or that challenge for the win?
Well, you've got Rimac, who's been really consistent since the second race. I know he had that disqualification at the second race, but since then he has grown and grown and grown, and I'm not surprised that he's in pole position here at the moment here with 9 minutes left of the qualifying here. I mean, Gusto did really well this season. He's second place with Mr. P as well. So I won't write off Mr. P just yet. I know he hasn't had time just yet there, but I won't write him off here at this point on. But the one to look out for actually, Gareth, is Mike, because he normally starts off the back and then works his way into the podium here. And if he does get a podium here, it will be a fantastic achievement there. I think it's one of his new records here of most podiums since Ferocious Moments.
Yeah, he's definitely doing very well. Of course, Mikey, he's been a runner-up, I believe, twice in F3, so he's going to want to make that next step into the winners' circle in the champions next season. So yeah, he's often up there, and he does very well indeed. I've had some great fun with Mike here in F3, and of course, winner in Silverstone earlier this season, another track that Mike always goes well at. And as you say, Mexico, one that he's always done well at in the past, and equally, you see the likes of of people like Sir Spud, who said that he likes Mexico, and he's won here in previous seasons as well. So Spud is one that, although he's not had the best of second halves of the season, and it's been a real shame for him, because he started off the season in great form, started off with a win in the first race of the season in Hungary, and was leading the championship after round 2. But since Russia, where he finished on the podium, he's yet to finish higher than 9th place. So Spud's had a real torrid second half of the season, and where's it gone wrong for the veteran driver?
I think it's just he didn't have that consistency stuff there, Gareth. In my honest opinion, I think he's just had some rotten luck with just like when he gets to the podium or gets to the top end, something always happens, and I really do hope that he gets a bounce back next season from everyone else's here, and I'm sure F3 is going to be one hell of a battle for next season, and I'm sure I can't wait for that, to be fair. But with this as well, it's coming up to under 7 minutes left of qualifying here. This is going to be an absolutely belter. I can't wait for that slugfest at the first turn as well. I mean, I wouldn't be liking to be first position, would you, at Mexico?
No, of course, there's a huge toe down towards turn 1, and it's maybe not, like with Russia, it's maybe not one of those tracks where being on pole position has the best advantage, maybe starting in second or third. And just here with Rimac, and he's on his out lap with 6 minutes 15 seconds left to go in the session, and the Williams driver, champion, and looking to sew up the Constructors' Championship tonight. So the Scot will be looking forward to possibly a double championship, which would be the first time that's been done. Actually, since I won the F3 Championship a few seasons ago in Season 7, that it will be a Williams driver as the driver and Constructors' Championship. So it will be a great result for Rimac if he can keep that title. It's going to come across the line. It's 1:15.1. Great lap there from Rimac, who didn't actually go purple in any sector actually there. So a very nice lap indeed from him. He goes a little bit quicker. That's 0.3 of a second gap he's got between himself and Prix in second place.
Yeah, so funny enough, the two Scotland drivers here in first and second place here, they've done a brilliant job here. The Craig's in second with a 1:15.4. Tillis is in third with a 1:15.7. Luke Bailey did a 1:15.7 as well. Wojtek is doing 1:15.8. Nigel Gash is doing a 1:15.8, but he's coming up to the final few corners now. He's one of those drivers as well, Gareth, that he's one of those that does get the consistency, but he's just been really unlucky in the last few seasons here, Nigel Gash, and I really do hope that, obviously he had some podiums this season, but let's see if he can try and capitalise and gain even more podiums in the next season. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. 6 retirements so far this season for Nitro, and that's where you're going to be losing your points. Obviously, huge, and that's half the season gone with retirements. We're just on board with Gasto, who's going a quarter of a second faster. Can the Argentinian, as he enters the stadium section, can he improve on this time? Currently sitting in 7th position in the Toro Rosso, coming around the Perotada now. Oh, he's going deep, and he's just kept it out of the wall there, and that's going to cost him a whole heap of time. And he just improves by 0.03 of a second. But yeah, almost a big mistake there from the Toro Rosso, and that's cost him, with 4 minutes left to go in the session, perhaps the opportunity of improving.
Hopefully he can try and improve here, because there's so many points up for stake here. Obviously the Drivers' Championship has been confirmed by Rimac a couple of weeks ago. But we've also got the Williams battling out with the Haas team. So the situation as this goes, the Williams cannot get more than 2 points, and the Haas team has to get first and second place regardless. They can't get first or third unless first and third they can't do. They have to get first and second place, and hope that Rimac and JSP does not. Well, I know JSP is not there, but say if he did, JSP would and Rimac would have had to get at least no more than 2 points tonight. But it nearly happened. But can the feat happen again here tonight? Do you reckon, Gareth?
It looks as though it's on the cards, doesn't it? It does look like it's Williams that are going to clinch it, as as we've got a couple of drivers coming towards the end of their laps. We've got Stephen here coming up towards the stadium section. He's going much faster on those soft tyres. He comes into the stadium section. Can he keep it clean? Can he keep it tidy around these very tight, very easy to cut? He runs over the curb somewhat. That just upset the back of the car, but Stephen's got a good run out of the final corner. Is he going to stick with it? He does. Pole comes in neatly, and it's a 2-second improvement. It's up to 6th place for Stephen at 15.826, but it's in 0.02 of a second faster than Nitro Gash in 7th.
He did well, Stephen, there. He's one of those drivers where he was doing absolutely fantastic stuff there. But that maiden win at Austria was just like the most of it all. Was the pinch perfect race for him as well. Just watching some spot now, coming up to the end of the second sector now. Let's see what we can try and do at this moment in time before we hit the old baseball ground section there as well. He's in 12th place at the minute with a 170% on, but he's made a mistake. He's made a mistake there, so that would compromise a lot there. So I forgot to mention, actually, there's a few drivers that, well, particularly one that has not got any points at all this season, but he has been really unlucky. Is TTG Jeffrey, aka Jeffrey Henney. So do you reckon he'll get some points finally tonight?
Well, I think there's obviously the option is the opportunity is always there. It's a track that consistency really does help you. As Tynus retires from the session in now 4th position. What's happened to 3rd as Luke goes up into 2nd place there, 15.456. Good lap there from the Red Bull driver. But yeah, I mean it's really just keeping it consistent around here, keeping on the black stuff out of balls and the Tech Pro barriers and upside. So yeah, it's as we found in F1 and in F2. As long as you can keep it between the two white lines on either side of the track, then you've got a great opportunity of picking up points. But we saw earlier JSP just joined the session, so that might call curtains actually on the championship decider, because that's a second Williams joining the fray there. So Rimac, who's currently sitting on the top of the standings in the championship and in qualifying, he's now got his teammate alongside him. And he's actually on his final flying lap, just started it, and he's just gone through the first 3 corners. DRS wide open on the Williams. He heads down through to the first split. Does he go purple? He doesn't. He's a 10th down on his best time, so it's a bit more work if he is to improve. We're under 30 seconds in the session map. Who's going for pole?
I reckon it's between Rimac and Craig here, because Craig's out on his outlap on the minute here, and Luke Bayes just did his lap in as well, and he's slowing down, so he won't be able to do it. But if Rimac can get into the 114s, that'll be a fantastic feat here at the F3 League tonight as well. So my money will be between Rimac and Craig. How about you, Gareth?
I think it's a good bet to go for that. I think Rimac has actually bailed out of that lap, so he's going slowly now into the stadium section, so he's not going to improve. And so the pressure is on Craig, and Craig is going quicker. And we'll see if he can improve on this time. He's definitely had a good run through the first couple of corners there. DRS wide open on the Ferraris. He heads down now towards turn 4. Heavy braking zone, and very easy to get it wrong here and bounce across the curbs and lose a whole heap of time. But the Scotsman does very nicely to keep it in tight. Now, once again, it's a very tricky hairpin here. It's got a double apex and very easy to get that one wrong. But can Craig stick with this one, throw it in, and really have faith in the car? Really have it as really on the ragged edge, and you want to be taking as much as you can over the curbs without unsettling the balance of the car. And in towards the stadium section, Craig is currently 0.2 of a second down, so he's going to have to an absolutely mega 3rd section if he is going to get himself ahead of Ryan back on the top. He cuts over the edge of the second to last corner there, comes around the peril retarder. Can he improve on his time? Around comes Craig at 8728 and comes across the line, doesn't improve. It's 0.3 down, and that, by the looks of it, confirms Rimac, your champion-elect, as the pole sitter heading on into the race.
Yeah, so Rimac, who did a fantastic qualifying here tonight with a 115.1. Luke Bailey getting second with a 115.4. Craig with a 115.477. Dennis is in 4th with 115.7. But Voyage Tech did a 115.8. We'll get through the whole of the standings in a moment or two here. But if you just join us, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining. Please make sure you like, subscribe to our channel for all the live races here as well. Here are your short qualifying classification for the Mexican Grand Prix. For the Invictus Racing League, the F3 League, you've got Rymac in first, Luke Bailey in second, Craig in third, Tinus is in fourth, Wojtek is in fifth, Mr. P is in sixth, O'Stephen is in seventh, Nigel Gash is in eighth, Gusto is in ninth, Dutch Louis is in 10th, Mike is in 11th, so Spud is in 12th, Brennons is in 13th, and Steele's the only one who's had no time at all during the qualifying.
And I think that's a great result there, actually, for Tinus, who, after dropping down from F2, was disappointed on his season so far and thought that he was potentially going to be challenging towards the top end, and just it hasn't worked out well for the young driver, and he's expressed the fact that he's going to want to push on next season. So to qualify in 4th position, the last race of the season, that sets you up nicely going into season 10 in a few weeks' time. So yeah, good result there from Tinus.
Yeah, he did a brilliant job there, to be fair. He did an absolutely fantastic job there as well. So we were going to do the usual advertisements, guys, and then we talk about the race itself to talk about. This is the Invictus Racing League, the F3 League, live and exclusive on the YouTube channel with myself, Malc, and the special guest of Gareth joining me tonight for the one-off special. For the rerun tonight. Normally we have the F2 League live and exclusive on the Wednesday nights at 8 PM as well. But not only we do the Wednesday nights, but we also got the F1 League where Gareth and Sab do a fantastic commentary on the league as well. And also myself and Tim, who do the Realistic Performance League on the Tuesday nights at 8 PM as well. Not only that, we've also got the podcast with Gareth and Sab on the Thursday nights, but that episode 1 will kick off next week, I believe. So we can't wait for that. They'll talk about the real life F1, and I can't wait for that. They do a fantastic podcast as always. Not only we do the F1 leagues, but we've also got the FIFA League as well. So if you want to join in, sign up on the site, and we'll talk to, one of the admins will get in touch with you in a moment or two. But also, not only we've got the YouTube channel live and exclusive for you guys, but we also got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well for all the latest updates. So make sure you like, subscribe, and follow as well. Not only that, but we also, the main one of it all is check out the InvictusRacingLeague.com site for all the proper latest updates. If you like the race and you like what you're seeing so far, why don't you sign up, apply to race, and then we'll kick off from there. One of the admins will get in contact with you, and hopefully, if you're successful, you might be joining in one of the leagues that are subject to availability as well. So we can't wait for that as well. So just like I said, good evening to everyone that's joined the session. If you liked what you see so far, guys, for the final time, can you please make sure you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel for all the live races as well. The races are going to be starting up their formation lap now, so I'm just going to get that set. So, with the F3 League, Gareth, and you're kind of like an observer, like a scout, aren't you, tonight for next season?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great opportunity, really, to see who's going to be challengers going into next season. And Rymac obviously is one of the drivers moving up along with Gasto and JSP. So they'll be looking forward to a higher standard of driving. And I can tell them for one thing that the F2 is definitely an upgrade from F3. And we've seen dominance from the likes of Lozak, who will actually be making the jump to F1 next season. But there's a plethora of drivers in F2 that they will have to really amp up that pace if they're going to stick with. But it all looks as though they're more than capable of doing so. But in F3, like I said, next season there is a whole host of drivers that can be challenging for that championship. So I'm keeping a keen eye on the proceedings tonight, see what happens, and just want to go back to your advertisements, Malc, and obviously now, if you're a keen driver, not just on PlayStation, but also on Xbox, we'll be expanding to an Xbox League on Sunday nights at 9:30 PM. So if you want to get involved in Invictus and you don't have a PlayStation, you can now do it on Xbox with us. So yeah, make sure you go to the website InvictusRacingLeague.com, where you can find out more details about that. Equally, speak to us on any of our social media sites, as Matt previously said, Invictus RL on Twitter, and Invictus Racing League on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you, Gareth. So they're coming in through the baseball ground section now, and they're slowly coming in now with Rymack in first place there, Luke Bailey in second, Craig is in third here, Tinus in fourth, Wojtek is in Tinus is in fourth, Wojtek is in fifth, Mr. P is in sixth, O Stevenson seventh, Nigel Cash is in eighth, Gasto is in ninth, Dutch Louis is in 10th, Mike is in 11th, Sasquad is in 12th, Reynolds is in 13th, Steele is in 14th, JSP in 15th, and Jeffrey in 16th place here. So the cars are all set and slowly coming in and ready to go here as well. So we can't wait for the final race of the Invictus Racing League, the F3 League as well. And this will be an absolute belter of a race here tonight. And we're about to kick off in a moment or two. Just waiting for the lights to come out here now. We got 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights, and we are go. Who's had the great start there? They will have all the slipstream part here. Stevens moving up to 6th place here. Luke Bailey's trying to go on the left-hand side. We might have 2 wide here or 3 wide here. We might have C barrels galore here. This is absolutely manic stuff here. Oh my days. Dinas has done a brilliant job here to move up to 3rd place here. Craig's dropped down to 4th place here. But this is absolutely magnificent start here, Gareth.
Yeah, great start there. We were 3 wide into turn 1 and into turn 2. Some fantastic battling, very clean throughout. So congratulations to all the guys there. Great start from everyone involved. We had Nitro going wide at turn 2, and that's cost him a couple of positions behind. We've got the Renault, by the looks of it, of Jeffrey, who's gone into the back of one of the cars ahead, and we've got the VSC out already on lap 1 as we get towards turn 6 and turn 7. We're already slowed down as we had contact between the Renault and I believe either Mercedes or of the McLaren.
Yeah, I think that might have been some contact there at the back of the grid. That's caused the virtual safety car. So that's one of virtual safety cars come out here. How many do you reckon they'll turn up here, Gareth?
It's always very hard to tell. We're in store for a dry race, we've been told, so these guys won't be finishing on intermediate conditions like they did in Brazil last time out, so they're going to be happy about that. We're back under green and underway in the racing. It's Jeffrey that's at the back without front wing, so he's going to have to box this lap and come in very early, so that's going to really hurt his strategy. But it's Rymack that had a great start, leads the way. Luke Bailey in 2nd position, tying us up to 3rd.
Rymack and Luke Bailey go 2 wide here at the first corner here. Oh, Rymack's just hold on. Rymack has just hold on there. Fantastic stuff there from Rymack there. Luke Bailey will be stood up here because Dinas is trying to do everything possible here to try and close in on Luke Bailey now for 2nd place here. But at the moment here, we're only on lap 2. It's been a great start here for this finale race of the Invictus Racing League, the F3 League. So far, Gareth, I know it's only 2 laps in, but who's been your best driver or best battle that you saw with the 2 wides?
Well, we've got a small breakaway at the top 3 between Rymack, Luke and Tinus. Of course, Tinus, the only driver here that's yet to pick up a race victory, and he'll be looking at staying with these 2. Luke looking for his first win since Germany in round 2 of the season, so he'll be chasing down Rymack, who knows he's got that title, but you always want to sign off for a win. So these 3 just got to keep an eye on in front and not on behind, because if Tinus starts looking behind him, Craig is going to reel him in. He's a very... I say that Tinus really rubs up against the wall there. Rymack doing the fastest lap of 1:19, immediately beaten by Craig. So as I said, Craig is starting to get into the groove, getting into the rhythm, and he knows what to do. He's very comfortable in these situations. He's more than happy just to sit behind these guys, use a little bit of DRS and save that battery, save that fuel, and just hunt them down. Because at the moment, Rymack is in really a position that no one really wants to be in. Although you're leading that race, he's got a whole host of cars behind him that have got free DRS, and effectively you can save a little bit of battery and fuel, so he's going to have to really defend, and he is pushing hard as Luke Bailey goes purple in the first sector, so he's going to really start pushing the Williams driver towards the end of this lap.
We'll see what Luke Bailey can do. He's on fire here. I mean, Luke Bailey has been... His last win was back in Germany, back in round 2, or race 2. So he needs to get that 2nd win this season if he can, but if not, we'll have to wait and see what happens here. But Tinus to try and see what he can do here. Yellow flag set to 2 there. I think that might be a Wojtek drop down to 7th place here. So not sure what happened there. I don't know if he's had a bit. Yeah, he's got a bit of front wing damage here on the left-hand side there, Gareth. So that'll compromise him. He'll have to go into the pits here. He might have to go long here for the hard tyres here. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And he becoming a little bit of a rolling roadblock with Nitro almost getting into the back of him, and Gasto going deep as well, coming into the stadium section. Into the pit lane comes Wojtek. So the first Alfa Romeo on track does come in, and that's going to drop him down. Of course, he'll be disappointed. One of the multi-time winners this season, having picked up the race win in Brazil and in the USA. So Wojtek will be disappointed that he'll be making that early stop, and they're behind with just we've just had change of position with Mr. P and O. Stevens swapping over 5th and 6th position. So Mr. P moving up into 5th place. Good start for the Haas driver. Stephen, he'll be looking at coming back. Of course, winner in Austria. He definitely wants to finish off the season with a flourish.
He wants to finish off with a bang, shall we say, on that one. But let's see what Mr. P can do here. He's, at the moment, he's moved to 5th, and he did a brilliant move here on O. Stephen there. But at the moment here, O. Stephen looks like he's struggling with those soft tyres, unless I'm mistaken. I'm just going to have a look from his point of view here, because it doesn't look like he's lost a bit of his front wing. I think it's just the momentum through the S's as well, just before then. But do you agree? Oh, Stephen looks like he's struggling at the minute here, Gareth.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to overheat those tyres around here. It's a very warm day here in Mexico City, and the air is very thin. It's the highest altitude of any of the races on the F1 calendar, as Rimac does the fastest lap. That's going to help him there. He's moved that gap up to 1.3 seconds now, so out of DRS ahead of Luke. But yeah, it's O. Stevens just going to look after those tyres. Gasto behind. He's been throwing it very deep into corners, and he's going to cost himself some time penalties if he keeps doing that. In fact, Nitro is now shaping him up down the main straight. Doesn't look like the Red Bull's going to be close enough to move past the sister Toro Rosso, and in fact Toro Rosso closer to Stephen, who maybe broke a little bit early for turn 1. But Stephen here using the curbs to a pretty decent effect there. DRS open for the Toro Rosso and the Red Bull, but it looks as though, unless without a deep lunge, there we go, he just about holds on to it. But there's a 3-second time penalty already for Tynus on lap 5. So that's a very early time penalty for the man currently sitting in 3rd position. So
that is bad luck there for Tynus there in 3rd place here, but that will compromise at the end of the race here. But at the moment here, Gasto's trying to close in on O. Stephen now for 6th place here still. Let's see what he can try and do here as well. He's in 2/10 behind, but at the moment here, Romac is in 1st place, Luke Bailey is in 2nd, Tynus is in 3rd, Craig is in 4th, Mr. P is in 5th, O. Stephen in 6th, Gaston's in 7th, Nigel is in 8th, Dutch Louis just at the drift at the back of the grid there in 9th, Mike in 10th there, Sir Spud in 11th, Steele is in 12th, Wojtek in 13th, JSP is in 14th, Jeffrey is in 15th, and Brennans is in 16th place here. But we might have 2 wide here coming up soon here, Gareth. We've got 2 wide here coming up with Gasto trying to close in on O. Stephen now. He's got side by side. He has. Gusto just moves ahead with 2 wide there, and he makes the move done and does it there. Oh, Stephen, mate. Oh, Stephen's got the inside here. But Gasto might have. Oh, brilliant stuff there from Gasto there. Oh my days, we might have 2 wide here again. Well, can you imagine if we had 3 wide here at the end of the 1st sector here, Gareth?
Oh, down to the inside goes Nitro, thinks about it, but just pulls out at the last moment. He thought better of it. But yeah, that was a little bit of a last late breakers there from Stephen. Really tested the brakes on that Mercedes into turn 1, tried to hold it around the outside into turn 3, but Gasto just gets the move done up into 6th position. Stephen just having to fend off now from Nitro, who's looking pretty racy in the early stages of this one as well. So he's going to want to stay out of that dirty areas if he can, especially into the S section. You can see there he just went slightly wide, and of course being in the dirty area of the car in front will disrupt your downforce levels. As I said, the air is very thin. It affects the way the car works, especially in hot and dirty air behind a car in front. So moving around and oversteer is definitely increased around here. And you can see Stephen really struggling out of the Peraltada, and Nitro, this looks like this is going to be a move done even before we get to perhaps halfway down the straight, because he's going to, JSP picks up 3 seconds. In fact, Nitro, he's not actually thinking about it. He sticks in the slipstream for a long time. He's going to leave the overtake until the last minute. He's going to come down the inside, and Stephen has lost himself 2 positions in 2 laps. He's now down to 8th position.
Yeah, Stephen. Like I said, Stephen's really struggling there, but Nigel did a fantastic job there. Just made the move done and dusted there into just before the first corner there. So fair play to him and as well. But Craig's closing in on Tynus now for third place here. Craig's going too wide. Oh, brilliant! Absolutely brilliant there from Craig there, Gareth. Brilliant.
Yeah, that was a magnificent overtake from Craig there. Really used his head when it came into the overtake, got into the right line and got the move done. Fantastic move around the racing point. Tynus wasn't expecting it whatsoever, and Craig now up into third position. He's got a bit of a gap now between himself and Luke, so he's going to have to get the hammer down if he is to close it up. They've done 6th coming on to the 7th lap here, so the tyres are starting to get past their best. Of course, these soft tyres do go off fairly quickly here in Mexico, so he's going to have to push quite hard and use up the rest of that grip left on them. But yeah, what a move to get past Tynus. Tynus was thinking, how did you get that one done? I wasn't expecting it at all, and it probably caught him out somewhat. But yeah, great move from Craig up to third position. Tynus, he now has to try and stick with the Scotsman if he is to bring back this podium that he'll desperately want, but of course sitting on a 3-second penalty, it's going to get harder for him.
Yeah, would be getting harder for him on that one there. But while you was watching that there, Gareth, I was just trying to go back to Mike, Dutch, Louis and O'Stephen there, but it looked like Mike just moved up to 9th place there, so he did a brilliant job there to get into the top 9 now. So at the moment here, if you was driving now with the softs, what pit would you pick? What lap would you pit in?
Well, it's as Craig picks up 3 seconds there, so that's going to hurt him as well. That puts him on level pegging with Tynus in 4th position. I think you've really got to think about trying to eke him out as long as possible, as much as you're not losing too much time. And as O'Stephen almost goes off into the shadow realm there with how much he went deep into the S section. But he's just fending off from Mike. But maybe around the lap 10 to lap 11 mark, and Luke Bailey might think about going for that undercut here, because it could be potentially powerful to get onto some fresh rubber. He's got a 1.6 second gap as we've got the first one into the box, and it's Mike, it's O'Stephen, sorry, took it very, very slowly indeed and very cautious into the pit lane, but he's on to the medium tyres, so he's going for that 2-stop strategy into the box, so he's going to come out on a fresh set of tyres. We'll see what his times are on this next lap as Spud picks up 3 seconds there, but I'd expect to see these guys on the soft tyres come in within the next 2 laps, and Luke possibly, if Rymac doesn't come in this lap, I would think Luke might think about that undercut. Should be. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. But at the moment here, Rymac's done a brilliant job here to hold on for first, and then Luke Bailey in second. Craig did that magnificent move earlier on against Tynus there from 4th place there as well. So at the moment here, there's a couple of battles going on here. We've got Wojtek in 12th and 13th place with O'Stephen, and also Dutch Louis and Sir Spud there, which I'm just going to watch live exclusive for you guys here. Who was 1 second gap. Oh, actually, I might go to O'Stephen now for the 7/10 now. So at the moment here, has there been any shocks for you recently, Gareth, for what you're watching so far? I think it's been quite a casual race so far. Now into the pit lane on the off the soft tyres, so he's going in for, see what tyres he goes on to. Is it another set of the mediums? It is a set of the mediums for the Toro Rosso driver, so he's equally going to try and make this a 2-stop strategy. I think these guys, they're just maybe taking it a little bit easier, knowing that those soft tyres, especially later in the stint, can really hurt you in the S section, and to be a little bit more careful. So I would expect to see this race amp up later on, and especially I'm quite impressed the fact that we've not seen, of course we saw that VSC on lap 1 with a little bit of contact. I believe it was between Jeffrey Henney and Brennons, who subsequently down in 15th and 16th position. These guys, they're keeping it, as I said, between the 2 white lines on the black stuff and out of the walls, and what it has done is it's meant that the field is somewhat spread out now, and we could probably do with a safety car later in the race, as we had in F1, to really make in F2 to really make the final stages of the race a little bit more mouth-watering. But we've got a gap now between Spud and Dutch Louis, now between over half a second. Spud closing in on Dutch Louis, and like I said, Spud, he is a bit of a fan of this track, and there goes. Dutch picks up 3 seconds of time penalties on the soft tyre. Spud, of course, starting on the medium, so he's going to have that advantage for tyre life, and he's shaping up the Alpha, coming down the straight now. Can the number 69 Ferrari get past? He's going to sweep to the outside. Spud should have that one pretty easily done. Yeah, Lowy doesn't even think about fighting back. He knows that those tyres aren't there, and Spud up into 6th position.
Brilliant move there from Spud there, using that DRS, using that slipstream to make the move done on Dutch Louis there for 6th place as well. As you rightly said, Gareth, there's so many drivers all spread out here as well. The only 3-car battle here we might have at the moment here, we might be Wojtek, O'Stephen and Nitrogas here, so interesting to see. But Nitrogas has gone for the hard tyres here. Would you, for yourself here, Gareth, like if you was driving now, I know the soft tyres you've started on, would you have gambled on the safety car? Gareth, you just said we need a safety car. We've got the safety car. Oh my days. Mr. P has been out of the race here. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. We'll just go watch it from Wojtek's point of view here. He might have lost it at turn 11. Yes, he did. He lost it just before the end of the 2nd sector here. So, Gareth, that is absolutely shocking here for this. But this is time now to pits now. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. It's time to come in, and this will really help the likes of the guys that were towards the, or you can see if Rimac does come in, but the guys that came in maybe a lap ago, they might look at jumping up a few positions there. You can see everyone coming into the box, but you can see Luke Bailey, he's out in 3rd position. Spud, he's decided to stay out, so even though he's done 11 laps on those tyres, he's staying out, so he's up in 2nd position. So he's actually split Rimac and Luke Bailey, but this does close Luke and Rimac back up together. It closes Craig, and you can see Luke has gone for the mediums, Craig and Rimac for the hard tyres. So it's a split in strategy there between the two rivals for the win. And well, we'll see. Does the first Ferrari driver, Spud, look to help maybe his teammate Craig, who will be looking to get past Luke Bailey? So does he hold up Luke in the attempt of helping out Craig here? Because he's going to need to pit in a couple of laps' time. And but it worked out perfectly. Unfortunately, Tynus picks up 5 seconds, exceeding track limits on 4. That's a big penalty there for Tynus. And Steele, in fact, picked up a speeding under the safety car penalty, so he's going to have a drive-through penalty earlier. We saw about a lap ago. So yeah, really unfortunate these guys just getting caught out by that safety car. And this is definitely going to shake up the race. It's on lap 12, so it's very early on, but it does bunch them back up together, which is what we wanted to see. And it's almost we go back to a rolling start in a couple of laps time. I expect the safety car to be out for around about two laps, maybe a 3rd lap. But you can see this is really going to help the likes of Reynolds and Jeffrey, who are circulating 20 seconds down, as the McLaren's currently making its way through the S's, but they're going to be able to close up to the back end of the finish. You see Wojtek and Tynus coming in as Nitro retires. Where has he lost in? Nitro was in 7th position. It's in the wall on the start finish line. The Red Bull driver, possibly an engine issue there, because he just seems to have parked it up just before the exit of the pit lane there. So strange one there for Nitro. He is out of this race. Shame for him, because he was on for a decent result tonight.
He was on a decent result here, and I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but that is very, very strange there. But with this now, a third of the race gone here at the moment here. It's been a cracker of a race here. We had the virtual safety car, now we've got the real life safety car. Norwich Crash has left the session here as well. So whatever happens here tonight, because Mr. P is out of the race here, the Haas team cannot get the 1-2 that they need. So whatever happens here tonight, the Williams would have a chance to get their constructors confirmed tonight, and that is a guaranteed there. But there's so many points up for stake here, with so many drivers battling out for not only for 2nd place in the drivers' standings, but also for the constructors as well. So everything to play for here. It's points mean prizes here. Gareth.
Yeah, well, as you say, that pretty much confirms the Williams as champions. So as the safety car is in this lap, so the cars will fold up. So watch out, these guys here. This is where you don't want to get caught out, because you want to let that safety car come into the pit lane before you start accelerating, because you can see it's going to be a bit of an accordion effect of drivers slowing up and then speeding down, slowing up and speeding down. Ryback, he leads the field around. Now he's off and underway. Tynes connected with Jeffries. 5-second penalty. Tynes racking up the penalties, but Ryback's had a great launch, and he's managing to keep the gap between himself and Spud. Spud trying to think about it. He's 0.3 of a second down. Not quite close enough to get that move done into turn one. Great restart from the Williams driver.
Absolutely fantastic start there from Ryback there. But as you mentioned earlier here, Gareth, about Spud, will he try and defend, like to stop Luke Bailey getting past the next teammate come through? I would agree with that. Because I've noticed Spud as a teammate as well. He can do the defending really well here. Most drivers here in this league, they do fantastic defending as well, and I can just see Spud try and defend, but as you rightly said, it depends on when the tyres are going to kick in, and I think in the next 3 to 5 laps here, because the 18 laps is the telemetry, that's the most that they can do on the medium tyres on the 50% race as well. But we'll see how much Spud can try and hold on with those medium tyres as well. Gareth.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the Ferraris, they might have to think about working together, because although the Constructors is long gone, they are involved in actually quite an interesting battle for 4th position in the Constructors Championship, as Luke looks to shape him up down the straight without DRS, in fact, at the moment, so he's going to have to get it done on raw power down to the inside. Does Spud defend it? He does think about it. Spud's going to go side by side. Can he keep it? And they go side by side, but Luke finally does manage to get past him. Does Spud allow his teammate to go back straight through? He does. So Craig up into third position, and now Gasto, who's actually had a great safety car restart, he's going to make 2 moves on the Ferraris, and I think he might let Craig back past. He's going to go deep, as Gasto's been exploring all of the track limits, and Spud thinks about going back up the inside. So these guys swapping positions. Corner 4. Gasto's got the inside line. He's going to have to hold on to the position tightly, because Spud is not thinking about giving up that position. He was hoping to help out his teammate. You saw that he did allow Craig past, but as I was saying, that was a fantastic sequence of corners there between the two Ferraris and the Toro Rosso. We've still got a magnificent battle. You can see how close it is with this safety car restart. We've got a several car battle for 4th position in the Constructors. Toro Rosso, Ferrari, Mercedes, Alfa Romeo and Red Bull are only split by 7 points in the Constructors Championship. So 4th place is up for grabs. DRS is now enabled, and by the looks of it, Dutch Lowy is shaping up O'Stephen.
Yeah, just watching it now. We might have a couple of battles here, because Mike's going to try and close in on Spud here. We might have 2 wide here. Let's see what happens here. Brennan has moved to 11th place. 1 sec. It's Mike! Oh, brilliant move there from Mike there. O'Stephen holds on there. Dutch Lewis still holding on, great place here, but we've got a train going on here. But look at O'Stephen now. O'Stephen's going to try on Spud now before the end, after the first sector, and he makes some move. What a move there from O'Stephen.
Yep, so Spud's tyres are starting to hurt him. You can see he's falling down the field. He's already down to 7th position, as Dutch Lowy and Jeffrey Henry fighting over 8th and 9th position, both on fresh soft tyres, so have optimum grip at the moment. Gasto in 4th position, now starting to close in on Craig, and equally on those medium tyres, Luke Bailey is reeling in Ryback, of course, who's on a 1 step harder tyre. So Luke is going to have the pace advantage at this stage of the race. 16 laps and 36 completed. He's going to need to get the move done and get up the road, because he's going to have to make a second stop later in the race. And unless we see a second safety car, as Gasto picks up a 3-second time penalty there, and that one's been coming. He's been exploring most of downtown Mexico City this evening, and he does. Gasto Gareth there in third position. He's actually dropped out of DRS there, so Craig will be wiping his brow there underneath that visor. But yeah, you can see the gaps now between Brennan's and JSP. It was absolutely nothing, and Brennan's in fact gets the move done with two wide, with two cars, the Renault, the Alfa, the McLaren and the Williams side by side into turn one. As we see contact between the Renault and the Alfa Romeo, and that's Dutch Lowy onto the grass on the exit of turn two, and a retirement for the Alfa Romeo. Really unfortunate for Dutch Lowy there, just tagged by Jeffrey Henney, and frustration boiling over.
Yeah, I just saw the glimpse there when you couldn't get your words twisted on that point there. So I'll let you off there. Oh, Vontek just made the move there on JSP for 9th place there on turn 6. That was a brilliant move there. Fantastic stuff there. So with the gap, here's a question for you actually, guys. With the gap between Ryan Mack and Luke Bailey, Steele's got 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Luke Bailey has to get at least 20 seconds of the gap to at least attempt to get that pit stop extra. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, he's really got to hope that we perhaps see a second safety car, but if that's the case, he needs to get the move done on Rimac now and start to make a move, because Spud picks up 3 seconds there, so the penalties are now starting to roll in. It is a track that we do see penalties occur, but here comes Luke around the outside of the Williams. Can he make the move on the leader? Backs out of it into turn 1, going to think about it into the second DRS zone here on the exit of turn 3. Lining up, and he's looking at the rear end of that Williams and trying to work out if he can upgrade his Red Bull for next season with some of the workings in the back end of that Champions car. And Luke's currently sitting behind him there. You're not really going to find an overtaking position in the next couple of corners, and I say that we've seen a fantastic overtake from Craig earlier in the race around the outside of turn 7, but Luke not quite close enough to get the move done on Rimac, and he's got to use those medium tyres to their effect at the moment. This is where he needs to get the right position. You want to line yourself nicely up as Rimac goes deep there on the exit turn 11. That's going to allow Luke to close in coming into the stadium section. Now just take your time, and as he cuts the corner there, that's probably going to be a track extending penalty deep into the next corner there. Maybe just a tad late on the brakes, but he is still nicely with the Williams, and it does look like DRS enabled that he will get the move done. We'll see who's got a slippier setup going down the main straight, because Rimac was able to hold him up on the last one, but DRS assisted. Through comes the Red Bull into the race lead. Luke Bailey on lap 19 of 36 takes the race lead from Rimac, who after 19 laps finally loses that grip in the P1 section that he's had all the way through qualifying and through the race.
Yeah, so right, I don't think Rimac will be too worried for now. I don't think he'll be too worried for now, but I think he's just trying, as long as he keeps the pace with Luke Bailey, he'll be happy with that. He'll be absolutely happy. As long as it's not over 20-second gap, he'll be absolutely delighted. But obviously the medium can last about 18 laps, the telemetry as well, but the hard can last about 23, 24 laps. So either way, like, Rimac's got another 17 laps remaining here of those hard tyres, so either way he'll be fine with that. But a couple of battles going on here, obviously with Luke Bailey and Rimac we've just seen. Gasto try closing on Craig now for 3rd place here, and also Stephen and Jeffrey try closing on Mike now for 5th place here as well. So many battles going on here, but let's just wait and see what happens here. So still watching from Gasto. Gasto needs to make the move here, because if he wants to do well in the driver's standings, he needs to get that move done on Craig here to stand any chance to try and get on to at least the top 2 if he can. But at the moment here, he's 4 tenths. He's 4 tenths now, coming up to, could it be a late move here on the 2 wide here? He's going around the outside here. He doesn't make the opportunity here, but he's going to try and get around the outside. I'll try and get into the inside where Craig was there, but they're still battling out here. Fantastic. So the Jeffrey's moved up to 6th place here now, but Gasto moves up to 3rd place now, making the move on Craig now, at the end of the 1st sector into the 2nd one now, and he makes the move done. Gareth.
Yeah, I think Craig and Rimac both very much in that same boat, where they just need to ride out as Tynus retires from the race, and it's all gone wrong for him, and it's a yellow in sector 3. He's retired in the pit lane. Really unfortunate time. It started off the race so well, and it's an early bath for him and an end to his season in a pretty depressing fashion. He'll be frustrated, but it's always about next season, getting yourself in that right frame of mind. But yeah, Brymac and Craig, both on those hard tyres, same as Mike. They can just think they're going to have to just outlast these guys on the mediums in Gaston and Luke Bailey, who are having to push hard in the early stages on these tyres, so it will take even more tyre life out of them to build a gap, and they know they're probably going to have to come in unless you've got absolutely magnificent tyre wear, as Spud retires as well. So we're down to 11 runners. Spud puts it in the wall on the exit of turn 11. We're only under yellow. We saw a safety car for that, and we see another one. Out it comes. So this is, do we see Luke Bailey into the box onto a set of the hard tyre, or perhaps even a set of the mediums, probably get to the end now. So Luke Bailey, with this medium strategy, this might have just worked in his favour.
It might have just worked out perfectly. Not just favourably, but absolutely perfectly there. So at the moment here, Luke Bailey will be just thinking, I would go for the mediums. If I was him, I would go for the mediums to last out, because he can push on. But now, if Luke Bailey goes in, would Rymac go in for the mediums as well to try and keep up with the pace here? And what happens with the other hard drivers as well, with Craig and Mike? Would they go for the medium tyres as well at that point? What do you think about that, Gareth?
Yeah, if I was anyone here on those tyres, no matter what, you've got 15 laps left to go. It's probably you'd go for the speed advantage. I would expect to see everyone coming into the box now. We'll see Luke stays out. So Luke staying out, Rymac staying out as well. So they've decided against it. Do we see anyone come in? So Gasto into the box. Craig stays out. Do we see anyone else? Mike staying out. Jeffrey Henney on the soft tyres. Smart move from him into the box. Those tyres are going to be coming off. Oh, Stephen, he's done 12 laps on the mediums. He's in. Brennons follows him, and JSP equally follows in. And Steele, he is in 11th position. He also comes in. So the two Mercedes are going to be very close to having to double stack here. He's going to have to hope that Oh, Stephen is cleared quickly. He's just about going to get out there, but you can see half the field going for fresh tyres, and the half of the field, especially it's all the guys on the hard tyres, have decided to stick out there. And see JSP on the soft tyres, Jeffrey Henney once again on soft tyres. That's a bit of an arse to get those tyres to the end in any sort of decent position. But you can see Brennons and Gasto, fresh mediums. I think they've got a pretty decent chance of moving forward, and that's a really strange call from Luke Bailey. 10 laps on the mediums, he didn't come into the box.
Yeah, I absolutely shocked about that as well, to be fair, Gareth, because I would have thought he would have gambled to go on the mediums again, but it's going to be, unless he's got something up his sleeve to hold on with those, I can't see him holding on with those medium tyres all the way to the end. 14 more laps on the mediums, I doubt it very much on that, but anything could happen in F1, anything could happen here. Now, he might go on the softs probably later on, but it's a tough call there. He might know something that we don't know, to be fair. We might know something that we don't know. But at the moment here, this is the second safety car, the main safety car we've got in this race here, on 2/3 of the race here on lap 23-36, with Luke Bailey in first, Rymac is in second, Craig is in third, Mike is in fourth, Wojtek is in fifth, Gasto's in sixth, Brennons is in seventh, Jeffrey's in eighth, JSP is in ninth, O'Stephen is in 10th, and Steele is in 11th place. So far, what do you think of this race so far, Gareth?
I think it's this second safety car has definitely made it fascinating, because it really does. You can see that huge split between the top 5 that have decided to stick out there on these used tyres, and the bottom, you can see the bottom 6 cars there. They've decided to go for fresh tyres, so you're going to have half the field being a lot faster, especially Jeffrey Henney and JSP, who are going to be like lightning in a bottle off the line on those fresh soft tyres. But the only thing I can think about is Wojtek picks up a 10-second penalty, exceeding track limits under the safety car, and we know that this is one of these issues that we've seen here. So Wojtek won't be too best pleased with that. He's in 5th position at the moment, so that's going to put him down. But we'll see if after the race that can be reviewed by the race stewards. But Luke Bailey perhaps hedging his bets on the fact that he's been behind the safety car, which means he's not putting as much pressure on those medium tyres. So he is saving effectively a couple of laps as the safety car is in this lap. So yeah, Luke Bailey is having to look after those tyres. You can see weaving side to side just to keep a little bit of temperature into them. I would expect to see the hard runners doing that as well, because of course you want to keep as much temperature in those tyres as possible. But Luke Bailey, he's under massive pressure now to look after these tyres for the next 14 laps to go before the end of this season, because he's going to have Rimac, Craig, Mike, Wojciech all chasing him down on tyres that will last a lot longer, and then a load of drivers below that as Wojciech picks up a second 10-second time penalty. But Luke Bailey, great launch once again. Rimac's going to go with him. Craig seems to have been caught napping at the start. He's already 1.2 seconds down at the start, so really poor start there from the Ferrari driver. He's in third position with Mike chasing him down. That's an old driver who recounted. And here goes Gasto up the inside of Wojciech on those fresh tyres. Is he going to go side by side? No, he thinks better of it. Bails out at the last minute. Wojciech, he's going to have to kind of defend from the switchback here, because Gasto's going to go to the outside, going down towards turn 4. Can he get the move around the outside? Wojciech on those hard tyres. No, he's going to bail out of it. And in fact, he's just managed to get it slowed down in front of the McLaren. Oh, and there's contact there between JSP and the rear end of the McLaren. So it's all going on at the start.
Absolutely manic restart of the second safety car here tonight. Absolutely fantastic stuff there. So Luke Bailey's trying to push on here, but Rimac will have the better advantage here in the next few laps here. Jeffrey Haley's got 3 second time out for multiple warnings now. So at the moment here, Brown's just trying to close in on Vodtech in a 6th place here. But let's see what he can try and do here as well. Steele's got a 3 second time penalty for multiple warnings through the baseball ground section here now. So absolutely fantastic stuff here. Coming up to the final corner now. They're coming up to the DRS straight now. Let's see what's going to happen. We might have a 3 wide here if we're lucky. But it's going to be a swab here. But we're guaranteed to have 2 wide here with Reynolds and Wojciech now. And Reynolds makes the move done and dusted there for turn 1 there. So that's a fantastic move there. But he will have the DRS coming in just before the end of the first sector here as well. But let's see what they can try and do here as well. Nothing much there, but it looks like Jeffrey's trying to close in, while JSP is just holding on for 9th place here. Who are you watching so far, Gareth?
I'm on board with Gasto, and he's closing in on Mike here for 4th position on those fresh medium tyres. Mike, of course, was one of those drivers that decided to stay out on the hard tyres, and he's being reeled in at a rate of knots by the Toro Rosso driver, and he's going to be under real threat as Gasto goes a little bit deep. Equally so does Brennan's, who's probably following the driver in front. Very easy to get caught in the line of the driver in front, and you miss your turning point. But Gasto, he is really starting to close in on Mike, and you can see the gaps between the top 4 all now starting to be between that 1 second to 1.5 second mark. So the hard runners all starting to split up. DRS is enabled, and it looks as though we're going to have a 3-car fight. Mike's going to have to fend off Brennan's and Gasto, and Brennan's has got an absolutely mega launch off the final corner. He's going to get a really good toe on of the two of them. Gasto defends the inside line, but Brennan's is going to have the inside. Can he break latest? He does. Gasto's going to try and stick with him. We're going to go side by side into turn 2. The Argentinian still there. Fantastic racing between the pair, and Gasto holds on to 5th position. Mega defensive driving there from the Toro Rosso.
Oh, that was a brilliant move there. But also, not only we had one great move there, we had another great move there, because JSP has made the move on Jeffrey again. But JSP dropped down to 11th place. He must have made a massive mistake there. Yes, he has. He's made a mistake there between the sectors 1 and 2. But what a move. We had a 3 wide there coming up to the end of the first sector here. So at the moment, Stephen trying to close in on Vodtech in an 8th place here. But Gasto's 2/10 off Mike here. So Mike just going to see what Gasto can do here. But Gasto makes the move done. But he's outbroke himself here. So he might have to go back on the inside here. Oh my days. We might have a 3 wide here. Coming up into the last corner here, but Gasto's pushing away now because Mike's struggling with those hard tyres now. Let's see what Browns can do here. He's on the slipstream now. Should have so much opportunity here, but let's see what he can try and do here. But it looks like he's drifting away, and it's brought Jeffrey into play here with those soft tyres here. We've got on lap 27.36. What a race, Gareth.
Yeah, this has been great fun so far. I'm just checking in with Brennan here because it doesn't look as though he's got access to DRS. That rear flap not opening on the McLaren, so perhaps a DRS failure for him at the moment because he didn't have it activated down the main straight and then equally didn't have it activated on the second. So unless he's suffering with a fault or still picks 3 seconds there, he's going to have to get past Mike without DRS. You can see he's almost pushing the Slovenian driver around the track and using that nose cone of the McLaren to find the inner workings of the Haas ahead, but you can see he's got the real tyre advantage, 5 laps on those mediums compared to 15 laps on the hards. Gasto 2.3 seconds now behind Craig, in third position, so he's going to have to reel in a little bit of time. Rimac is now dropped 1.2 seconds behind Luke, so it's a bit of a gap. We've got plenty of racing left to go though, so Luke's tyres have got a long way to hold on. Mike here under absolute siege from Brennons, and Bren is going to once again try and look to the outside and gets the move done, but you can see DRS not activated on that McLaren, and it's going to really hamper him down into the first corner because we can almost go 3 wide. Mike's going to have to give up 2 positions. Jeffrey Henny absolutely sending there, and Jeffrey, I believe, was involved in that incident with himself and JSP a few laps ago, but sent it down the inside of Mike, and Mike had no options but to bail out of it. He's going to think about trying to get the move back on Jeffrey, and pulls back at the last minute, and Mike now under threat from a swathe of drivers, Wojtek, Steven and Steele, all lining up the Haas driver.
Yeah, well, Mike needs to do something here, same with Wojtek here, because they are on a limiter of the hard tyres here as well, with 8 laps remaining as well. But Jeffrey could have a chance to get some decent points here tonight. Just depends, as long as he doesn't get any mistakes. I know I've said this, I'm not saying this as a commentator's curse or anything like that, but Jeffrey has not scored a point at all this season, as hopefully that will break the jinx and gain a couple of points this season. Let's see what happens there. But at the moment here, Jeffrey could have a chance in 5th place here. Gasto's got the fastest off the race now with 118.6 flat there from the medium tyres there. Fantastic stuff there. Gasto right on the tail there of Craig there for 3rd place here, and he might have the chance here on the first turn there, but he did not do it there because Jeffrey, just watching Jeffrey's point of view, and Brennan's for 5th and 6th place here. So with this race going on here, do you think Craig will hold on, or do you think Gasto, I was going to say, will Gasto make it into the podium here, and he does make the move into 3rd place here? Do you think Craig will get back into the podium here now, or do you think that's out of it now?
Oh, I think the battle is happening on track, and Craig is not going to give up that podium without a fight. Gasto is going to have to send it. We've seen these two have a little fun battle between themselves. So, Gasto, he thought had the move done. Craig got back in with us. Oh, it's another time penalty there for Craig though. So that, I believe that's his 2nd of the race. So, the penalty's now starting to come into effect. Gasto thought he had the move done. Craig went straight back in, but you've got to look at it and you've got to think that Gasto's got a huge advantage in this situation. 7 laps on those mediums, 17 laps on those hards for Craig. So Craig's tyres, although those hards will comfortably get to the end, will be really starting to hurt come the 36th lap. Whereas Gasto's tyres will only have done 13 laps, and here comes the Argentinian driver once again to the inside using DRS. He's going to get the move done. It's going to see who can break latest. It's going to be the Toro Rosso who gets the move done into turn 1. Craig, however, not giving up, and he's going to take a tighter line. Is he going to think about the switchback? No, he's going to stick around the outside, and this is where you get that double helping of DRS if you've overtaken down the main straight. It's a bit of a cop-out if you ask me, but you can see Gasto uses it to defend from Craig, and unfortunately Craig is now having to find himself in 4th position outside of that podium positions, with Brennon's now starting to race in the McLaren.
Yeah, so Craig, who did a brilliant job to hold on for 3rd place, he's now lost it with Gasto pushing away now to try and get into the top 2 here now. I wouldn't be surprised if Gasto can challenge for the top 2 in the next few laps or so, because normally the mediums and the hards can last about 6/10 of the delta between the mediums and hards. So either way, if he can get that momentum going with 6/10 of It'll be a bit of a late push, but it'll be very, very hard to take here. But at the moment here, Craig is trying to defend here because Brennan's could have a chance here to try and get up to 4th place now. With the guys who won the hard tyres on 19 laps here, 19 laps. Fantastic stuff here as well. But who's been your driver of the day so far, guys?
I think you've got to look at the likes of Luke Bailey. He obviously started off with the pole, really what we thought was a very bold strategy move that came in for those medium tyres, possibly hedged a bit on the second safety car, and it's worked right in his favour. Currently leading the race by 1.4 seconds. We've got an Alfa Romeo sending it down the inside. Wojciech and Mike, that was brave from Wojciech, and he's picked up 3 seconds for his troubles there. He's going to lose the position to one of the Mercedes and maybe to the second Mercedes. Stephen thinking about it on the inside of the Alfa Romeo, but Wojciech too hot there into turn 4. Got onto the curve into the side pod of Mike, and he's lost himself a position to steal. And Stephen behind, who is on fresher tyres, he's going to think that he's got an option of getting past the man who's currently in 9th position. So yeah, I think Luke Bailey on current rolls he's done very nicely. It's a 1.2 second lead he's got himself now, so he's making those tyres last, which is something we thought that he might not do. And Stephen is going to think about moving to the Perotada. Can he get the move? Oh, that's brave. There's a cigarette paper's distance between himself there, and they're side by side around the Perotada, and they're going to go side by side with JSP, who's going to make it 3 wide. And Malc, you can say your favourite line, because here they come. We're almost 3 wide.
Oh, come on! No! Oh, no. You're teasing us, absolutely teasing us here. Absolutely mad stuff there. Oh, I liked it how you said that there, Gareth. I liked what you said. So we're on lap 32, 36 here. Could we see another 3 wide here? If not, we might see a 2 wide here at that point in time here. But biggest mover of the race so far has been Jeffrey Henning with 10 positions here. Brennan's with 9 positions moved up to 4th place here, and also with Steele in 7 moves in 7th place as well. So that's the 3 biggest movers here of the race as you're watching it live exclusive for you guys here. Jeffrey's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings here. So last minute stuff here with the situation going on and with Luke Bailey doing a brilliant job to hold on with those medium tyres, which I did not expect. Well, we both did not expect to see the medium tyres to last that long. Did you feel like that Luke Bailey could have lost it at that point at the safety car?
I definitely thought that this was probably a position where those tyres would start to fall away. And I mean, there's still plenty of racing left to go. There's still 4 laps left to go in the race. So there's still an option for Rimac to close down. But it's 1.6 seconds, and Rimac, as I say that, picks up 3 seconds in time penalties there. So that's not going to aid it at all. And that's going to possibly even cost him a little bit more time. Although I believe Gasto's sitting on a couple of time penalties himself. So Brennan's in a decent position here in 4th place. And Brennan's another driver that's one of those, much like his teammate F1 Richard in the system of Harron, the sort of F3 nearly men. They've always seemed to be up and around the top half of the table, but never quite into that sort of championship contention. So Bren will be happy finishing in the top 5, looking for perhaps a championship battle, as he picks up 3 seconds. So I should probably stop talking, because I've been talking about Brian Mack and Brennan for the last minute, and they've both picked up penalties. So but really good results so far for the likes of Brennan's and for Gasto. And equally, Luke Bailey now stretching that lead to 1.8 seconds. It's getting stronger.
Sorry, Gareth. He kept saying Luke Bailey, Ryan Mack, and then they had the penalties as well. But they're not getting penalties just yet here, because Craig is slowly creeping in to try and close in on Brennan's down in 4th place here as well. And Steele trying to close in on Jeffrey now for 6th place here. They're going too wide at the back. They're going too wide there at the... they're going... Will Steele tried to do that move there, but he's going to have another opportunity here. Will Steele try and move it on Jeffrey here? We might have 2 wide here. There's another 2 wide there between the McLaren and Craig there. But, Craig made the move. But Steele go around the outside there. Oh, what a move. He's got the inside move there. Oh, absolute genius from Steele. What a steal, what a bargain.
Trading paint between Brennan's and Craig around the hairpin. Fantastic defensive driving from Brennan's. There was the slightest of taps between the two, but very fair driving. They allowed each other enough room around several corners. Craig still trying to stick with him, and he's just pulling to the inside, jinking left and right to let him know he's there, hoping that Brennans makes a mistake. He knows that time is running out on the race. The lead is 1.8 seconds, so Rimac needs to get a shift on if he's going to close in on Luke Bailey in the final two races. We're on the penultimate lap of the season here in F3 for season 9. Craig now in the toe of the McLaren. Can he get the move done down the main straight back up into 4th position? Here he comes, and Brennans doesn't have anything to answer him back with. So even though Craig has done 23 laps on those hard tyres, so great stint there from as Gasto picks up 3 seconds time penalties. Craig back up into 4th position. A really nice little battle to end off the season with Brennans.
Yeah, the two drivers are doing a magnificent jobs here, to be fair. But with the situation that they've had this season here, with Brennans in 11th place in the driver standards, and obviously with Craig in 14th, they're trying to finish it off with a bang here to try and finish off perfectly, to try and get that push to get on to the next season, on season 10 seasons at Invictus. Absolutely achievable stuff from everyone at Invictus as well. But there's so many battles galore here. And as I said earlier on, Gasto could be challenging for the top 2 here. And at the moment, he's only 6/10 off Rimac here for 2nd place here. So, hold on to your seats. Hold on to your seatbelts here, guys. Will Gasto try and spoil the party here to get Rimac off 2nd place here? Rimac will hold on here. He's 2 seconds off the gap of Luke Bailey here. We're on the final lap now. We're on the final lap of this race here as well. So Gareth, who are you watching so far for the final lap?
Final lap of the season, just checking in on Brennans. He's got DRS back and he's shaping up Craig down into turn 1 of McLaren. Sends it down the inside. Craig is going to try and stay with him. They're side by side through turn 1, side by side into turn 2. Craig gets ahead into turn 3, just holds on to 4th position. These two still side by side. Fantastic battle between the pair. Brennans gets back past using the 2nd DRS into the next corner, but Craig's going to try and stick with him. Doesn't get the move done. Brennans just about holds on to it, but Craig is going to think about the inside into the hairpin, not willing to get in position. What a fight we've got between these two, still trying to get involved. We've got Gasto, 0.3 of a second between himself and Rimac for 2nd position. Luke Bailey has got this race in the bag. If all goes well, he's coming into the stadium section now. Rimac is holding on for dear life for 2nd position. Malc, feel free to call the end of this season.
Oh, like I said, Luke Bailey's coming to the final few corners now. JSP's got 3 second time penalty for multiple points now. He's coming to the final corner now. What a drive. What a brilliant drive there from Luke Bailey, who's just won the Mexican Grand Prix here. Actually, I'll tell you that. Rimac, after penalties, has won the Mexican Grand Prix. Luke Bailey crossed over the line first. But Rimac did actually win the Mexican Grand Prix as well. So Rimac in first, Luke Bailey in second, Gasto in 3rd place as well. So those 3 will be in the commentators box for their interviews as well. It was a really unlucky race there for Luke, because I think he did a magnificent race to do a 1-stop around here as well. So fair play to him. But also the penalties can capitalise on it, and that's what Rimac hold on there. And he did a brilliant job there too, getting back into 1st place after penalties here. And Gasto, who had a late charge here into the podium here, into 3rd place here. So fantastic stuff from these 3 guys here. So they'll be in the contest box in a moment or 2. So
yeah, I mean,
sorry,
fantastic result there from Rimac. That late penalty obviously was only 3 seconds. I didn't actually see the second one for Luke flash up there, so 6 seconds really unfortunately there demotes him out of the race win. I'm sure he'll be pretty gutted with that, because that was a really stellar race from him. Gasto up into 3rd position, started 9th, fantastic result. Mike, clean race from the Slovenian driver, and he's up into 4th. I think he finished 8th on track, so up into 4th, outlasting Brennans and Jeffrey with penalties. O'Stephen in 7th position, Craig all the way down in 8th place with 12 seconds of penalties, and then you've got JSP and steal your points finishes. Wojtek finishing outside of the points, and unfortunately Suspad, Tynus, Dutch Lowy, Mr. P and Nitro left us earlier in the session.
Yeah, that is your race classification for the Mexican Grand Prix for round 12 of the F3 League as well. But like I said, we'll get Gareth to get, or I'll invite them in for the guys to get themselves prepped up and ready to go to hear their thoughts of the race itself. So bear with us a sec, guys. We will invite them in. Do you want to invite them in, Gareth, or shall I get them in for you?
If you could, I don't believe I have them, so if you could do that, that would be wonderful.
Okay, so I'll get Rymac. So bear with us a sec, guys. We will start the commentators' interviews, the podium interviews, in a moment or two. We're just going to invite the guys in a moment or two. So just getting Luke Bailey and Gasto. I believe Gasto. I don't know if Gasto's got his mic with him, but we'll invite him in just in case if he does, to hear his thoughts. But I would like to hear Luke Bailey's thoughts of the race from his point of view, because I think he did a magnificent race, but that penalty, the second penalty, cost him for first place here. So just invited the top three guys now. So we just try and get them in. So we're going to talk to Rymac, Luke Bailey, and then Gasto once they come in. But in your thoughts of the race here, Gareth, what's your thoughts of the race tonight?
Yeah, brilliant race. Really good way to end the season for Rymac. Finishes as champion, finishes top of the standings, and double champion for drivers and takes it home for Williams. So first time Williams have had a driver as a constructors champion since season 6, I believe it was. So really well done for him. I'm sure he'll be delighted with how the race went this evening, and just hoping that we can grab them into the commentary box very, very shortly. We'll see if they can join us. But I mean, looking back on the season, Malc, where did it go right? Where did it go wrong for the drivers?
I think everything gone right for Rymac since he started at race round 2. Since then, I think he's just gone from strength to strength. Keep that consistency with JSP as well, with the Williams stuff, with the Williams constructors as well. So they've done a brilliant job all season long. Mike coming in late with like the last minute of all the podium stuff recently. I think Luke Bailey had a good start, and then all of a sudden he dropped down again. So some drivers had some great starts and then just gone, like, they've not got keep that consistency going, and consistency is always the key to win titles and championships. If you don't do that, you will not win anything, and that is a true fact. Do you agree with that, Gareth?
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, it was that's what happens. Consistency wins you prizes, and that's something that Rymac did in absolute swaves this season. So he should be delighted with that, and excited for his move up to F2. And I'm sure we're very excited to see what he can do when he makes that next step up in a few weeks' time. So he's just joining. We're just waiting for Luke to join us, and I mean, it was a fantastic result from several times. We saw just so many wicked battles between the likes of Craig, who was just relentless tonight, and equally the team's battle went down to the final laps with, like I said, the battle between fourth in the championship and the constructors went for between Toro Rosso, Ferrari, Mercedes, Alfa and Red. 7 points split them, and I believe at the end of that, I think only 10 points have split them as well. So it was a mega race all the way throughout. Plenty of overtaking, plenty of thrills and spills with those 2 safety cars and the VSC on the first lap. So I mean, looks as though we've only got Rymac joining us this evening. So Malc, obviously, do you want to kick off and start with our champion?
Yes, absolutely. So before we start, can you please make sure your loud voice to be shared is set to always allow? If you're not sure how to do it, go to the party settings, and there's an option for the loud voice to be shared. Make sure it's set to always allow before we kick off. So
all good.
All good. So, Rymac, good evening, mate. How you doing? You all right?
I'm not bad, guys. How are you?
Oh, absolutely belter of a race. Absolutely fantastic race tonight. Tell us about your short view of your race tonight.
Glad glad to see the back of Mexico, if I'm being honest. It's been a lot of practicing, especially after doing the same track for 2 weeks. So, funnily enough, I've actually been doing the majority of my practice with Luke Bailey. So, in practice, it's been the other way about. It's been me getting all the penalties and then him jumping me at the end. So, for it to happen the other way about tonight, I'm sure Luke is as surprised as I am.
Absolutely, absolutely. And with the battles galore as well, with the situation with the safety cars as well, did you felt like you could have gone in with fresher tyres near the end when the second safety car come in? Do you believe?
Nah, to be fair, if the first safety car, I think, encouraged Luke to pit earlier, because I was actually pitting that lap anyway. But on the second one, I was staying out regardless. My hards were only warranty about 15%, and there was still plenty to go. And I knew that if Luke went in, he'd have a task to try and catch back up. But yeah, he's been doing really well managing his tyres all practice, so I knew that he'd still have life left in those mediums towards the end.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But has there been any of your best moments in the race from your point of view?
No, I tried to hold Luke up as much as I can. That was the only real eventful thing. I was just focusing on not getting the penalties. I was surprised when I checked that Luke had more than what I did, so I knew that if I just stuck close. But my idea was to try and stick in the DRS, but I think every single time Luke managed to get away from me and just stay out of that, so I was having to use up all my ERS to try and catch him. But Craig and Gastel were pushing really hard behind me, and I think they both clearly had a bit more pace than me towards the end.
Ooh, okay, so at least you pour the sweat off now because you've just crossed over the line. I think after penalties in first, so well done to you for tonight, Ryan Mack. You did a brilliant job, but also not only you won the Drivers' Championship, but you've confirmed with the Williams with the constructors as well, so well done on that, Ryan Mack. Brilliant job from yourself and JSP. If he is watching later on, but fantastic stuff from you too. Do you feel like it's your best ever season at Invictus, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely, Mal. Can't complain. Drivers' champion and constructors, can't ask for much more. I don't know if I'm going to be able to even contend with the next season in F2, but I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys are capable of.
Absolutely, absolutely. One more question from you before we go to Luke Bailey. What's going to be your target for F2 next season?
I'm genuinely not sure, Malc. I haven't really watched much of the F2 races. I know that there's a couple of the guys that were extremely fast moving up, but I'd be happy anywhere in the top half, genuinely. If I can compete any higher than that, great, but I'll try and get as good a start to the season as I can, keep myself out of trouble and just try and pick up plenty of points.
Brilliant, fair dues. Like I say, thank you very much for a fantastic season, Ryan Mack, and I wish you all the very best of luck in F2, whatever happens. You've been a brilliant driver, and I wish you all the very best of luck in the near future.
Thanks, Malc, appreciate it.
No worries, mate, no worries. Well done for tonight. Luke Bailey, before you carry on, I know you just joined in late, but please make sure you allow voice to be shared. It's set to always allow. If you're not sure how to do it, go to the party settings, and there's an option called allow voice to be shared. Make sure it's set to always allow. So while Luke Bailey's just getting himself prepped up and ready to go, it's been an honour and privilege for Ryan Mack to win his drivers and constructors with JSP for the Williams as well. So an absolute honour with that, and wish him all the very best of luck in F2 as well. So I'm going to speak to Luke Bailey now. Are you all set, ready to go?
Yeah, all set, man.
Cool, nice one. So good evening, Luke. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. You, Malc?
Yeah. Me and Gareth I saw an absolutely belt of a race from tonight. What's your thoughts of the race in your own views?
Kind of went how I thought. Didn't think I was going to be in front towards the end, but I did plan doing soft mediums from the start. I've been practicing it with Rymac quite a lot, and I just don't know if the safety car helped or made it that bit worse for me, but yeah, the penalties obviously just did me at the end.
Yeah, we didn't see the second penalty that happened, so we thought that you just did the tyre management and the strategy perfect, because we didn't expect the mediums to last longer than what you predicted. But did you had two minds thinking to go pick a different tyre in the second safety car or not?
No, one, I wouldn't have caught back up. And two, it kind of left me with no choice but to carry on. We obviously, Rimac and Craig on the hards, if I'd have pitted, I'd have had a lot of the field to come back through. And I think it was just on the verge of the softs being a bit too far as well, so I didn't have any other options to pick for the softs. Mediums seemed a bit pointless because we're already on them, so yeah, I think I had no choice but to stay out, really.
Fair dues on that. But you proved us wrong with the commentators for the tyre wear stuff, because we didn't expect the mediums to last throughout the remainder of the race, because we thought that he was going to pit in at that point in time. But has there been any best moments from your point of view that you would recommend to watch back?
No, there wasn't really much battles for me. Just the beginning when I tried to stay with Rimac, but I couldn't. And then once we pitted, I just had that edge throughout the first half of the stint on the mediums, and he was on the hard. My aim was just pull away before the tyres did start dying towards the end. But I've done that much practice with the mediums, I did kind of find as much as they did wear, the lap time was still there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until lap 18, 20 they started going off with times. So up to that point, the times are still there. So yeah, the strategy was there for soft mediums for everybody, really.
Yeah, to be fair, like I said, me and Gareth did not expect the soft mediums to last on there. We expected like soft mediums or soft hards just to last the tyre wear and stuff around Mexico, because it's one of those where the tyre wear is absolutely ripped up, should we say?
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, when I finished, the tyre wear, it was 72 at the rears, so it does eat them up, but the lap times are still there, to be fair.
It is, but also it's just like you just never know what to expect back at the Mexican Grand Prix, because you just never know what to expect at all. But you've proved us wrong, and you've proved us wrong with that brilliant strategy there. And we felt really unlucky for you that you missed out on the win. It was your last win was back in round 2, so that was a long time ago. Yeah, long time ago there. So, but still, you got second place though. Do you feel like you got the confidence now to push on for F3?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the confidence has always been there. Just silly little tangles with a few people just kind of ruined the middle stint of the season, but yeah, confidence always has been there. It's just a bit of bad luck here, a bit of bad luck there.
Yeah, to be fair, you have been really unlucky. You had a good start, and then you go down, and then you got back himself up in the end of the season. As you did that exactly the same as last season as well, from what I remember.
You're going to laugh at this. I even said to Rimac, if I end up in podium tonight, that's exactly what you'd say.
Yeah. So Rimac's got his winnings now afterwards.
You're too predictable, Mal. You're too predictable.
I can't help it. I can't help it on that one. But yeah, Luke, well done for tonight. You did a brilliant job for second place. I know the win, you did cross the line first, but I think with the penalties after it, I think you would have had a really good race, to be fair, and wish you all the very best of luck throughout the remainders there as well. But like I said, it's an honour and privilege, and I wish you all the very best of luck for next season, Luke. I'm sure you hopefully get a good start, but don't drop down and then go back up again on the end part, please. That's all I ask for.
Yeah, I know.
But like I said, well done for that. I've not heard from Gasto, so I don't know if he'll be in, but if he's not, we'll try, and I'm sure he would be absolutely delighted for third place after his brilliant drive the last stint, actually, from the safety car point of view, trying to balance out with Craig and nearly Rimac, who was on boiling boiling point, shall we say, at that point in time. But can I just say a massive thank you to Mack and Luke Bailey for their inter-podium questions. You can stay if you want, guys, or you can shoot off. It's up to you. But thank you very much for joining tonight, guys. Can I say a massive thank you to everyone that's watched the stream. Thank you also for the one-off special of Gareth, who's helped me out here tonight. Absolute legend you are, mate. Thank you very much for joining tonight, Gareth.
Oh, no, it was a pleasure being back. Always great to be back here in F3. Looking forward to racing next season. And congratulations. Thank you. Big help for you giving comms to the F3 League all season. I'm sure the guys really appreciate it. It's always good to hear you in the box and the iconic voice of IRL. So yeah, it's great to be back, and next season can't come soon enough.
Fair dues. I wish you all the very best of luck, Gareth, for F3. I'm sure you'll be starting off with a bang, and I'm not saying the usual words, shall we say, on that one. But let's see if you can try and get a good start in next season in F3. But thank you to everyone that's watched the stream. Thank you to all the drivers at Invictus Racing League for making it absolutely magnificent season, whether it's from all the way back from Hungary to the point in time now of Mexico. You've been absolutely legends, every one of you. Thank you to all at IRL, Invictus Racing League, the admins. Without them, there will be no league at all. There will be no all this at all. So all the thanks will be on everyone else there, at all the admins, all the comms as well. So well done to everyone there, the stewards, everyone that contributed to Invictus Racing League. You've all done a magnificent job this season, and I'm sure next season will be an absolute belter as always. Thank you very much, guys. This was the Invictus Racing League, the F3 League at the glorious race of Mexico. Next season will be season 10, the Big 10, Big 1-0, shall we say. But thank you very much to everyone there. See you later, guys. See you all next season. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.